Under Kamala, we are rapidly approaching economic and social catastrophe. Most Americans are unaware that Harris and Biden have been shutting down entire swaths of our energy and electricity infrastructure without replacing it or even talking about it, leading to soaring electrical prices and energy prices, and also an energy shortfall like we've never had before. They're closing down things that shouldn't be closed down. This week, Harris officially banned drilling on 28 million acres of public lands. So what they did is, when they came in, what caused inflation, other than their spending, which was a big factor, but it's energy, because they came in and they wanted to terminate everything I was doing, and the prices were going through the roof for gasoline and everything. So they said, put it back, put it back. So it all came back, or most of it came back. Maybe not to the same, but pretty close. They said, go back, after the election. If they ever won, it's all gone. But what they don't say is, they'll say, oh, but we have the similar to Trump. And that's sort of true, but what they don't have is they don't have ANWR. They gave up ANWR, the biggest site anywhere in the world, in Alaska, that I got done. Ronald Reagan couldn't get it done. But really, most importantly, what they don't have is, we were going to be 4 to 5 times bigger by now. So when they say they had it back, they only had it back to where I was. We were going to have so much energy coming out of the ground, so much liquid gold. We were going to pay off debt. We were going to reduce your taxes further. I mean, we have more liquid gold than Saudi Arabia. We have more than Russia, and we were going to use it. And you know where we're getting a lot of our energy now? Venezuela, which isn't even, it's tar. You know that. It's tar. And you know where it's refined? There's only one plant in the entire world that can do it. It happens to be in Houston, Texas. So for those of you that don't like particles going into the air, take a look at that mess. And we have clean, beautiful stuff. We have the best. We have the best, and we have the most, and we don't use it. We go to electric, or we go to something else. You almost say, do they hate our country? Because it's so incompetent. Do they hate our country? The first thing I will do to make middle-class life dramatically more affordable is to end Kamala's war on American energy, terminate her Green New Scam, and drill, baby, drill. We're going to drill, baby, drill. Since Harris took office, more than 50 power plants have been shut down. Many of these were great plants, but they didn't like the way they were fueled up. Many of them are needed to create electricity. It's like, it starts from somewhere. It doesn't start from electricity. And by the way, just a little side note. So AI is a big deal. For us to compete successfully with China and others on AI, we're going to need twice the electricity that we currently produce. Can you believe that? We're not going to be even close. The only guy that can do that is a guy like me. I opened up 2 plants in Louisiana that went through 14 years, LNG plants. They went through 14 years of approvals and were turned down. I got it done in one day. One day, we got it opened. Those owners, whoever they were actually, people are going to spend $16 billion. These are the biggest, just like the Empire State Building on its side times 3. The longest, biggest buildings you've ever seen. All they had is pipes inside. I said, what the hell kind of a building is this? But you know what? Billions of dollars. And they got turned down. I got it approved. And in one of them, one day, the owner or the head of the company couldn't believe it. He said, I got a call. I guarantee you a consultant somewhere that represented him. So I did a great job. I didn't speak to consultants. I just got it done. And now they're up and they're roaring and they're just fantastic. Under Kamala's radical power plant rule, issued by the EPA, all coal-fired power plants will be forced to close in the next few years. What are you going to do? Gutting more than 1/6 of the power, and really, we're going to go to a very weak form of producing power. We don't have energy that can power up those big, massive plants that we need, including the ones right here in Michigan. You don't have the energy. Wind is wonderful. If you like high cost, if you like having to replace the windmills every 9 years, they wear out. And they're very intermittent, and they do kill a hell of a lot of birds. If you want to see a lot of dead birds, go to a windmill and just look underneath. You'll see birds all over the place. This same rule has frozen virtually all new investment in large natural gas projects, setting us up for a horrible shortage of at least 30% of our electrical grid capacity in the future. So we're going to have much less in the future. We're closing down all our plants. Just like trucks. They want you to make electric trucks. And the truckers come to see me. Sir, they don't work. One man had 29,000. He said, I started with nothing. I have 29,000 trucks. He said, I'd buy trucks, and every year they got better, they got more efficient, they got stronger, they got more beautiful. I started building apartments in the back of the cabs, right? You know what that is? He said, sir, you're rich, but you would have loved some of these apartments. I said, no, thanks, but that's okay. No, it's beautiful. This stuff is fantastic. We had 4 or 5 companies. I said, which one did the best? He said, they all do good, sir. But now they want us to go to electric trucks, and I'll have to stop 6 times on the way to California from New York, 6 times. And, sir, they weigh 2.5 times more than a gasoline or than a diesel-powered truck. I said, so what does that mean? He said, that means you're going to have to rebuild every bridge and every major roadway in the country just because of the weight. And they're very inefficient, and the battery is much bigger than the tank. And he was telling me the battery would take up at least half of the area right now that they use for hauling. I said, so when you tell people like that you'd have to rebuild every bridge in America, that you'd have to rebuild the roads, that the tank, that you have to stop 6 times from New York to California. He said, with a load of diesel, a good truck can go all the way and even start their way back. That's how good it is. And he said this, it was amazing because he said it right from the heart. He said, if they make us do this, I'll be out of business. We'll all be out of business. Your supply chain will be a disaster. But if they made us do this, every year that I bought a truck, it was better. They got better, better, better. We will have gone back 70 or 80 years. We'll have trucks that don't go far. We'll have trucks that don't work well. We'll have trucks that can carry a very small payload because of the size of the batteries and the weight. So I said, well, when you tell these officials this, what do they say? They say, we don't care. You're going all electric. So if you had a child, let's see, do we have any children? If you had a child, a beautiful boy in the green shirt, if you had just a little child saying, and he's not so little, he's a big boy, he's going to be a big one. But if you said to a child, it doesn't go far, it weighs too much, the payload's no good, and lots of other problems, and they're much more expensive, he would say, let's stay with diesels, right? These guys say, we don't care. Then they want to make our army tanks, all electric. And the problem is they don't go far. They're the wrong torque. And you know where they want the battery? Because the battery is massive. They want you to, like you pull a wagon, a child pulls a wagon. They want to build a wagon at the back so it pulls the battery along. So they want to be environmentally friendly as we blast our way into a country that we hate, right? We want to take on these countries and be environmentally friendly. These people are deranged. They're deranged people. I will be the American energy president. I'll be a president for a lot. I'm going to be the automobile manufacturing president too. You watch. And it won't even be hard. I can do it with a pen. I can do it with a pen. Come in and build your plants in the United States, preferably here. But come in and build your plants in the United States of America. And if you don't, you're not allowed to sell cars here. And we're going to tax you at 150 or 200%. I did that with steel. And people are going to flow in. And the head of your union, who's absolutely terrible. I mean, give him an IQ test. I mean, this guy doesn't know what is happening. He's horrible. Sean Fain. He's horrible. What a terrible job. He sold out the union. And they automatically endorse, they automatically endorse Democrats for many, many years. But if you look at your car industry now and 25 years ago, it's like a different world. You've just, what you've lost is so bad. We can get it all back. We can get so much of it back because you're still the big market. And that's why we have to do it fast, because we have to remain the big market. The way we're going with this country, we're going to lose that. We're going to lose our currency values. We're going to lose the dollar standard. If we lose the dollar standard, that's like losing a war. If we don't have the dollar standard, we are a third world country. My goal will be to cut your energy costs in half within 12 months after taking office. And we can do that. If you have the oil supply, which we have more than anybody, Your heating and air conditioning, electricity, gasoline, all can be cut down in half. Your gasoline, I had it down to $1.87. I had moments when it was much lower than that. To achieve this rapid reduction in energy costs, I will declare a national emergency to allow us to dramatically increase energy production, generation, and supply, which Comrade Kamala has destroyed. She's destroyed it. Starting on day one, I will approve new drilling, new pipelines, new refineries, new power plants, new reactors, and we will slash the red tape. We will get the job done. We will create more electricity also for these new industries that can only function with massive electricity, and we'll get it done. And nobody else is even going to come close. They won't even try. And if they did try, nothing would happen. Under President Trump, America's future will be energy abundance, energy independence, and soon we will be energy dominant. We're going to be dominant, much more so than Russia. You know, we started off number 3. By the time I left, we were number 1 by a lot, and we were going to be doubling and tripling them up. The cutting of ANWR was a shame. Ronald Reagan tried to get it. He couldn't get it. Every president, they all tried to get ANWR. In Alaska, I got it. They think the size of Alaska in terms of what's under there. And in the first week in office, he terminated it. I got it all done. They were all started drilling. Took them a year and a half. They got everything perfect. They were all starting in Alaska to drill. And what a shame that is. ANWR could have been maybe the biggest site in the world, but we're going to get it back. It'll be back very quickly, I promise you that. Because I know the roadmap. I know that roadmap very well. People said, I can't believe you got ANWR. Ronald Reagan couldn't get it. Nobody could get it. And it was easier then, because now you have the environmental stuff at levels that, nobody's ever seen before. Much of it to stop us from making progress. I will also stop Chinese-owned electric vehicle battery companies from coming to Michigan and stealing our intellectual property, our workers' knowledge, and then sending it back to communist China. We're not going to let that happen. We're not going to let that happen. Every part of Comrade Kamala's economic plan looks like it was written for her by the Chinese Communist Party. It actually looks much of her. Now, in all fairness, she did an